According to reports, starting from August 1, 2023, the General Administration of Customs of China has imposed export restrictions on rare mineral resources such as gallium and germanium. Some Chinese experts believe that if this measure does not improve China's relations with some countries, it is expected that China will implement export controls on rare earths. Is the rare earth war really coming? On December 23, 2021, China Rare Earth Group was officially established. The purpose of its establishment is to obtain China's rare earth pricing power. After the reorganization, this rare earth giant will control about 70% of the domestic mining volume of heavy rare earths and 40% of light rare earths each year, and is expected to become the world's dominant rare earth enterprise. This clearly indicates a point: China is taking the initiative in the rare earth war. Some people may think that rare earths, at best, are just a type of resource. Is it really that important? Absolutely. As early as 1992 during his southern tour, Deng Xiaoping mentioned, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earths." China's rare earth resources account for 80% of the world's known reserves, a position comparable to the oil in the Middle East, possessing immense strategic significance. We must handle rare earth matters well. Why have rare earths become a strategic resource? How have the US, Japan, and Europe encircled China on the rare earth issue? How should China counterattack? Okay, we will talk about it in this video. Most people may not be very familiar with rare earths and may not understand how rare earths have become a strategic resource comparable to oil. Simply put, rare earths are a group of typical metallic elements. They are exceptionally precious not only because of their rare and non-renewable nature, along with the difficulty in separation, purification, and processing, but also because of their extensive applications in agriculture, industry, and military sectors. They are a critical cornerstone for manufacturing new materials and a key resource for cutting-edge national defense technology development, earning them the title of versatile elements. In the military, rare earths are also crucial. Almost all high-tech weapons today incorporate rare earths, and rare earth materials often lie at the core of high-tech weaponry. For example, the Patriot missile system used by the United States in the past utilized approximately 3 kilograms of samarium cobalt magnets and neodymium iron boron magnets in its guidance system to precisely intercept incoming missiles. The laser rangefinder of the M1 tank engines, and lightweight yet sturdy bodies of the F-22 fighter, and more all depend on rare earths. A former U.S. military officer even stated, "The inexplicable military miracles during the Gulf War and the asymmetric control over the war process exhibited by the United States in post-Cold War local conflicts were, to some extent, achieved by rare earths." The Middle East has oil, China has rare earths succinctly expresses the status of China's rare earth resources. China's rare earth reserves are unparalleled in the world. China is also the only country that can provide all 17 rare earth metals, especially the heavy rare earths prominent in military applications, of which China has a significant share. China's rare earth reserves and production are far ahead. Logically, it should be able to influence the world rare earth prices and profit immensely from rare earth exports, right? The reality is quite the opposite. Chinese rare earths were sold at extremely low prices for a very long time. The story behind it is a history of blood and tears, heavy to speak of, and painful to hear. In the 1960s, due to China's severely outdated rare earth production processes and technology, the United States monopolized the global supply of rare earth resources during that period. China could only export rare earth ores at a low price to foreign countries and then import rare earth products at a high price. Some countries considered rare earth production technology highly confidential and imposed a blockade on China. For such crucial mineral resources, China could only sell them at the most primitive raw material prices to countries that possessed core development and utilization technologies. The grim reality compelled China to accelerate the development of rare earth separation and purification technologies. At critical moments, there are always some backbones who step forward. In 1972, the father of Chinese rare earths, Su Guangxian, began unprecedented attempts in the field of rare earth separation and purification technology in China. Finally, he succeeded. The separation coefficient for praseodymium and neodymium broke world records, achieving, for the first time internationally, the efficient extraction and separation of rare earths using a push-pull system in industrial production. After 1990, market-oriented reform became the most dazzling term in China. The rare earth industry was a highly profitable industry at that time, and local and private enterprises rushed in. The production process invented by Su Guangxian, the father of Chinese rare earths, did not receive patent protection under the planned system. The brain drain of technical personnel from state-owned enterprises resulted in a significant lowering of the threshold for rare earth production, and numerous rare earth production enterprises emerged. Under the banner of opening up to the outside world, China adopted a policy of open production and open supply. Driven by short-term profit temptations, China's rare earth production and export volumes expanded simultaneously. At that time, China did not realize the importance and strategic nature of rare earth resources, even using rare earth exports as a major source of foreign exchange. In the early 1980s, China's single rare earth production was about 20 tons, and by 2006, it had reached 80,000 tons, about 4,000 times that of the early 1980s. Behind the sharply growing export volume was the vicious competition waged by countless rare earth enterprises, where undercutting each other became the market norm, leading to a sharp decline in international rare earth prices. From 1990 to 2005, the price of rare earth ore dropped from $11,700 per ton to $7,430 per ton, a 30% to 40% decrease in the international price of individual rare earths. The price drop resulted in rare earth production enterprises becoming even more reliant on expanding their scale. By 2005, China's annual production capacity for rare earth smelting and separation had reached 200,000 tons, surpassing the world's annual industrial demand by double. It's hard to imagine that rare earth metals, as strategic resources, witnessed a vicious price war. At that time, China's rare earths were truly being sold cheap as if they were mere dirt. When China's rare earth production rapidly expanded and prices continued to decline, it created conditions for the accelerated development of high-tech rare earth materials and related products by the US and Japan, providing them a golden opportunity for their so-called strategic reserves. As global demand for high-tech electronics, lasers, communication, superconductors, and other materials experienced exponential growth, developed countries like the US and Japan continuously increased their technological innovation in rare earth metals. They introduced a large number of high-tech military equipment and consumer products that depended on rare earth resources. Simultaneously, they hastened the strategic reserve of rare earth resources. In the 1990s, countries such as the US, Australia, Canada, and others that had rare earth mines generally implemented policies restricting or ceasing the development of their own rare earth mines, turning to import from China for strategic reserves. The US had a rare earth reserve of 13 million tons, accounting for about 10% of the world's reserves, which was relatively abundant. However, the US did not exploit its own rare earth mines. Instead, it stored the largest rare earth mine, the Mountain Pass mine, and completely halted the production of molybdenum and other rare earth mines domestically. Every year, the US imported a large amount of rare earths from China for strategic reserves. As a result, the high-quality single rare earths acquired and reserved by countries like the US and Japan can supply industrial production for at least 20 years, some reports claim over 40 years. Developed countries, through resource trading and production enterprises, completely controlled the international rare earth prices, while China's rare earth reserves rapidly decreased. Subsequently, when China, for the sake of regulating mining and protecting the environment, implemented corresponding measures such as export quotas and export restrictions to reduce rare earth exports, the US, Japan, and Europe began suing at the World Trade Organization, WTO, from 2009. Using China's restrictions on raw materials as a reason. In the following years, the US, Japan, and Europe repeatedly brought China to the WTO on the issue of restricting rare earth exports, and China was generally ruled against by the WTO. It is evident that exporting primary resources not only fails to bring prosperity but may also lead to the decline of a powerful nation. Technological advancements in China's rare earth industry mostly occur in the primary production processes of rare earth mining, refining, and initial processing, which foreign investors are not very interested in or find less profitable. In the higher-end application fields, it's almost impossible to see China's presence. Fortunately, in recent years, China has gradually counterattacked in the rare earth war and achieved good results. Particularly, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, China established China Rare Earth Group in 2021. By continuously integrating rare earth enterprises, its market share has been increasing, granting it some influence over market pricing. At the same time, Chinese rare earth enterprises are also exploring overseas resources. A typical example is on July 11, 2017, when Chinese rare earth company Xinghe Resources, in conjunction with other overseas enterprises, received approval from the local court to acquire the Mountain Pass mine, the only rare earth mine in the US that was previously mentioned as being sealed off. In short, faced with the unreasonable suppression by the United States and the West over the years, China has had sufficient experience and is well prepared, no matter in any field, even in the field of science and technology that the United States is most proud of. Chinese also have the confidence to walk out of their own path. Okay, that's all for today. How do you think about it? We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.